Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. It's Marquita. If you're new here, welcome to another meal prep with me. I'm super excited about it. You guys know how I feel about meal planning, recipe keeping, all things cooking. That's just my heart. And so we're going to be doing another cook once, eat all week meal prep video. So I'm going to show you guys from start to finish how I prep 3 dinners for the week. You guys know I cook Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. The other days are leftovers. So that's what we're doing today. But first, if you're new here, hopefully you'll stick around and consider subscribing and also giving me a thumbs up on this video if you enjoy it. So let's jump on in, guys. I'm super excited to show you these recipes for this week. If you want to see that, make sure to stay tuned. All right, guys, so as you guys know, I've been loving this book, and some of you guys have as well. And so this week I decided to go for a pork vibe, was just feeling some pork this week. So I went ahead and wrote out my grocery list for the week. So I know each and every ingredient that I'm going to need to meal prep for the week. And so once that is done, I went ahead and ordered all the groceries on Walmart grocery service. You guys already know that that is super easy in terms of just getting everything that you need. I just ordered online. It just worked for me. And so that's what I did once I figured out all of the ingredients that I needed. I also raided my pantry, guys, and my refrigerator just to make sure of what I had on hand because I didn't want to buy things unnecessarily. So for this week, we are making jerk pork stuffed sweet potatoes with mango kale slaw. We are also making a yummy garlic pork skillet, y'all. It looks so good. And then lastly, a sweet potato tamale pie, which sounded super interesting. So I'm really curious to see how it's all going to work out. And then I went ahead and pulled everything out, guys, all my seasonings that I was going to need. I measured it all out. I got every single ingredient out that I'm going to need for meal prep. Now, this isn't everything you're going to need to cook all of these recipes because, of course, there's other things that you'll need that you'll pull out when you get ready to actually cook everything. But that is everything that we need to meal prep. So now we really are ready to start getting this stuff going. So I'm going to pull that pork out. It is pork shoulder or pork butt. So I need to remove the wrapping and then go ahead and slice it into smaller pieces. So that way it'll cook quicker. That is just the easiest thing to do is just go ahead and just slice it up. So I sliced it up and added it to my Instant Pot because Instant Pot is super quick and easy. You guys know it doesn't take that long. So it told me to set the timer on about an hour and a half. So after I go ahead and add all of this to the Instant Pot, I'm just going to go ahead and set that timer and just let it cook, which is the beautiful part of the Instant Pot. I was going to put this in my slow cooker, but you know how long that takes. You also want to make sure that lid is nice and tight on there. Make sure it locks into place, and then you are ready to go and let that thing cook on its own. So while it is cooking, I'm going to go ahead and grease my skillet with a little extra virgin olive oil so that I can wilt the kale. So of course you've got to rinse it and chop it first. So after I rinse and I chop the kale, then I'm going to go ahead and just add it to the skillet just for a little bit, just so it can wilt, and you don't want to overcook it. So just keep an eye on it. And make sure you put a lid on it so that way it can trap all of that steam on the inside and cook the way you want it to cook. Right, so we've got the kale going. We can go ahead and get the rice on because, you know, rice takes a little bit of time to cook. So I'm just going to go ahead and turn the stove on. I did get a new pot set, by the way, from Aisha Curry, which is super fab. And so I just turned the water on there, and then I'm going to go ahead and add the kale, which is completed. It's fully wilted the way I need it to be. Still green, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and add that to my storage container, which are just glass storage containers that I got on Amazon, and I will link them below just in case you are interested. So I'm just removing that from the skillet, and I'm going to go ahead and put a lid on it and get it in the refrigerator until I am ready to use it for the week. So the recipe told me to cube some mango, but I decided to cheat a little bit. I went ahead and opted for a frozen bag of mangoes, which is going to save me lots of time. I did go ahead also and pick up some mango just in case because I wasn't quite sure how this was going to turn out, but it looks great and I think it's going to work out perfectly. So I'm just going to go ahead and add that to the glass container, make sure it's sealed tightly, and then I'm going to store that in the refrigerator, of course, for later use. All right, our pot is boiling and ready for some rice. I love me some jasmine rice, but I am on keto, so I am not going to be eating the rice this week, but my family is. So I definitely want to go ahead and prep that just like the book said, but I'm going to have some cauliflower rice, which should be just as yummy. So we're going to let that rice cook, and while it's cooking, we're going to chop up the cilantro. Y'all, cilantro is my absolute fave. I adore cilantro. It's so good. So I'm just chopping that up, and then I'm going to go ahead again and put that in the glass container and store it in the refrigerator so that when we're ready to go, we can pop that baby out and use it for those recipes that we need it for. Now it's time to chop up the jalapeno. I love jalapeno as well, but I'm going to deseed it a little bit because I feel like I don't want it to be too spicy. I do have a 6-year-old and she likes spicy, but she doesn't like too spicy. So I just removed the seeds from one of them, and then the other one I'm okay with having those seeds in there. And so I'm just going to chop that up, put the lid on, and do the same. Put it in the refrigerator for later use. So with the garlic, I cheat a little bit as well. I buy the garlic in the jar, and then I'm just going to scoop some of that out into the glass container. It's just easier for me. So this is all the seasonings that I'm going to use. Again, I measured everything out. I feel like a real cooking guru, and so that way it would make it easy for me to make this seasoning mix that I have to make. It is on a separate page in the book, and it is the jerk seasoning. I also did grab out my actual jerk seasoning because I just wanted to add a little bit to it just in case. I wanted it to have the right taste because I love some jerk pork. And so I'm just going to go ahead and add all of those seasonings to my bowl. And then once I got them all added to the bowl, I'm going to go ahead and just give it a little mix. And then I'm just going to, of course, put it in the glass container, store it in the refrigerator for later use. Super easy recipe. Again, it's on a separate page in the book, and you could use this for lots of different things, but in this case, of course, we're making pork, and I have a feeling it's going to be super yummy because there was lots of different ingredients in here that I just didn't think would mix well, but I'm confident that it's going to taste super yummy. And so according to the recipe, I needed 2 tablespoons of salt. I needed 2 tablespoons of coconut sugar, 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of ground allspice, 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of dried thyme leaves, 1 tablespoon plus 1 teaspoon of ginger powder, 2 teaspoons of garlic powder, 2 teaspoons of ground black pepper, 1 teaspoon of ground cinnamon, a teaspoon of cayenne pepper to taste, and 1/2 of a teaspoon of ground cloves and nutmeg. So as you can see, that's a lot, right? So I'm really curious to see how it's all going to taste, and that's why I wanted to just add a little sprinkle of my typical jerk seasoning in there just in case to give it that taste that I wanted. So now we're moving on to the honey sauce. It calls for 1/4 cup of honey, 3 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar, 3 tablespoons of coconut aminos, 1 teaspoon of roasted sesame oil, and 1/4 teaspoon of red pepper flakes. Super easy. And I did also add a little bit of soy sauce in there. I know coconut aminos is very similar to soy sauce, so I just added a little bit in there towards the end. You won't see that here on camera, just to give it a little bit more of a twang that I felt like it needed. I think I also did cut in a little bit of honey as well, just to make the sauce stretch more, because I needed it to be for 2 nights of meals, and I know my family loves sauce, so I know they're going to ask for extra. Then I'm just putting it in a mason jar, sealing it up, and storing that baby in the fridge. Now it looks like our rice is ready, which is amazing. I'm very much of a stickler about rice. I like it nice and fluffy, and that's what it looks like to be. I don't like sticky rice. So since the rice is done, I can go ahead and add that to the glass container as well, and get that lid on there and store it in the refrigerator. All right, I'm just going to check on my pork. Y'all, I'm so excited about this pork. I think it's ready, by the way. This stuff smells so good. So first you have to vent it. Of course, if you're using an Instant Pot, you want to vent first, let all that steam out. And of course, that makes the house smell so good. And while that's venting, because it is a little bit of a process, I'm going to go ahead and line a baking dish or a large baking pan with parchment paper for my sweet potatoes. So I went ahead and picked up a few sweet potatoes from the store, which I'm going to use to mash. And I'm also going to use them, of course, to have intact full sweet potatoes for a night of dinner. And so that's what I've got here. So I'm going to go ahead and bake them at 400 degrees. Of course, I'm doing everything by the book. And so I'm going to go ahead and pop those babies in the oven, let them cook. It's going to take some time. So I'm going to let those sit in the oven and cook. And while they are cooking, I'm going to go ahead and shred my pork. Y'all, it smells so good. And I didn't really season it that much. I just added a little bit of salt and pepper. And so when I really get ready to cook this, because of course you're going to re-cook it once you get ready to prep for dinner or make dinner that night, then I'm going to add my seasoning on there. And of course we're going to have that jerk seasoning as well. So it should be super yummy. So I'm just going to grab it out of the Instant Pot. It's super hot. And I almost want to take a munch of it, but I'm not. I'm going to try to restrain myself because I did get to have it for dinner tonight. So I'm just taking 2 forks and I'm just going to pull apart that pork. And then, of course, I'm going to store it in a dish for later use. And I ended up having to use 2 glass containers because there was so much pork. And then I took a scoop of that juice from the pork and poured it right on top, y'all. So that way it doesn't get dry. I like my pork to be nice and juicy. So now that the baked potatoes are done, we're going to go ahead and store them in a plastic bag. I just stored a few of them in there. And then the other one I'm going to use to mash for that tamale pie. So for that sweet potato mash, of course, peel that skin off, add it to a bowl. And then you're going to add in some butter. So I went ahead and melted it in the microwave, pour that on top. Then you're also going to add some fresh lime juice, or lemon juice is what I did. I just prefer lemon juice sometimes. A little bit of coarse salt and some ground cumin. And that you're going to go ahead and just mash it up, get it nice and mashed. And I actually need a little bit more of the sweet potatoes. So I'll go to the store later on this week when I get ready to make this dish, and I will mash up a few more because I have a feeling I'm going to need a little bit more than what I have here. All right, so we have everything prepped, y'all. Can you believe it? It took me about 2.5 hours to prep everything. Again, I love the convenience of already having the chopped garlic and some of the other ingredients. I cheat a little bit, but it's okay. Whatever works for you. And so this is all of the items that I'm going to need for 3 nights of dinner. Yes, 3 nights of dinner, y'all. Crazy, right? As well as some leftovers for the next day. And there are some filler meals in here that you can do in case that this is not going to be enough for your family. They are called bonus dinners. There are 2 options for that. So you're more than welcome to add that to the mix as well. But this is everything. And I think we'll be good because I did test it out last week and it seemed like it was pretty good. We were able to make those meals stretch and still have leftovers for the next day. I love meal prep, you guys. This is probably going to be my favorite type of video on my channel. And you guys seem to really enjoy it. So hopefully you got inspired today and now you want to start meal prepping. I am still a little bit of a rookie in the game when it comes to meal prep. But you guys know I love cooking. I love recipe keeping. I love all things that have to do with cooking and eating too. And so this video was awesome. I love it. I think this week's recipe is going to be really, really good. My family loves these sort of recipes, so I know it should be a hit with them. So I'm really excited to try all this out and check in with you guys and let you know how it went. So head on over to my Instagram because that's typically where I will post kind of like an how things went sort of video, or in my stories, I'll kind of talk you through as I'm preparing the meals on those specific days. So I'm excited again about everything that is to come for this week in terms of how things taste and what we feel about this week's meals. This is week 22, by the way. Last week I tried week 2, so you can go all over the place in this book based on your preferences for that week. So that is it for this video, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you got a little bit of inspiration out of it. You found a book you want to pick up. Check the link below because, again, I have provided all the details. If you want to pick this book up, it is genius. I love the whole entire system. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you stopping by my channel today. Hopefully you'll come back and you'll catch another Meal Prep Monday video, in which case I'll see you then.